Hey you guys, how is everyone doing tonight? I'm YounesHH, this is Blue Lines TV, and wow, what a eventful night. Some crazy stuff happening today. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be honest, I was kind of laughing a bit when the news broke out that Pochettino got sacked, but then 5 minutes later, big news comes again, and we're hearing that Mourinho could potentially be replacing Pochettino at Spurs. So the minute that happened, it was time for me to obviously go to the Chelsea Illuminati. Nah, not the Illuminati. I used to think of a better name for the gang. But of course, I reached out to my guy, Mattis Armani. I reached out to Younes, and I reached out to Football Therapy. And you guys, you know what? Because I want to do this properly, and because I spent so much time preparing this stream, I'm going to go by everyone one by one so they can introduce themselves. Starting with you, Mattis. How you doing, man? If you want to introduce yourself to the chat.
Yeah, I mean, guys, it's great to be here. Known as Matt on Twitter, known for causing a storm sometimes, but yeah, it's great to be here, man. Honestly, second time coming up on the stream, and last time was great fun as well. So obviously, we have a lot of drama. I think we had a lot to talk about even before this news came out with Morris and all that kind of stuff that happened as well. So this is going to be fun for sure.
It's gonna be crazy, and as you guys can see on screen, it's Mattis Armani's Twitter page. So make sure you do give him a follow, as you guys can see here. Don't be a pagan, you guys. It'll take you a few seconds. And of course, moving on to Younes. Younes, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to be back on here. It's been a while.
It's been a long time. As you guys can see, Younes' Twitter page is on screen. And of course, the YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe to Younes as well. Boom.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'll put out all the sorts of my guests, you guys. What can I say?
Quality host.
To complete the threesome, we move on to Football Therapy himself, being a fantastic addition to the Chelsea community. He's putting so, as you guys can see for yourselves, the amount of work Football Therapy, aka Yannick, aka Jan the Statman, is putting in. It's unbelievable. So Jan, obviously introduce yourself, man.
Well, what introduction, mate. Yeah, so yeah, Jan, YouTuber, I suppose, content creator, Chelsea fan like the rest of the boys. Football Therapy on YouTube, man. Pleased to hang out with you fellas and talk some absolutely mental news. So let's get into it.
Amazing. Great to see you guys here. And you know what? On that note, you guys, I think we need to talk about the news that broke today. Pochettino being sacked from Spurs. Now, Jan, it's perfect to ask you because you're on screen right now.
Yeah, man.
What was your initial reaction to that news?
Well, I know it's a huge news story, man. It's like a shock factor story. But if you think about really the tangibles for the last, it kind of everyone felt like it was going to happen without talking about it. Do you know what I mean? The way, like, ever since I genuinely feel the players have stopped playing for him. The 3-0 Brighton, heads dropping, the metrics are all down on the players. He was being, even in pre-season, man. Remember he did a couple of those pre-season interviews where he was coming out with all sorts of stuff. Just being really funny with the media. He's got this way, Pochettino, man. He can do it every now and again. And everyone sort of, knew something was rotten, but he deserves... I know this is a Chelsea-orientated gathering of content creators or whatever, but
like the Avengers,
the Avengers or Nini After Dark's threesome.
Hey, I like
that. But ultimately, Tottenham's a big club, right? They've got their stadium, they've got awesome players, man. Winks and Dombele, Kane, Sessegnon's come in, so they've got a good squad. But Pochettino deserves the means to do a better project. So it's always going to happen. I know your question was, was I shocked? Yes and no. It's just like, it's kind of like when Jose got sacked from Chelsea. It's similar vibes. Like, it was obviously going to happen, but not obvious. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. Mattis, I know you've got some thoughts and opinions, bro.
I'm surprised that it's Levy that sacked him. I thought Pochettino would be the one to walk first, because if you remember his comments against Liverpool in the Champions League, I think, was it the Champions League final, or was it maybe the Ajax game before they got there? But he spoke about if they didn't win it, or if they did win it, that it would probably be his last game in charge. Obviously, they went on to lose, but I don't feel like he was ever going to reach those heights again. He took that squad as far as he could take them. They massively overachieved, and they've done so ever since he arrived. especially on the budget. We all know the lack of money he was given, and he was only really given a transfer kitty this summer.
Yeah.
And even still, I think he could have still been backed a lot more than he was. They didn't move on the likes of Alderweireld, the likes of Ericsson, who were clearly unsettled. They kept a lot of players that were 50-50 in and out. And that looked to be detrimental, because once you do that, and it was something that Ferguson says so often, any player who's not 100% in it, he's getting rid of. It doesn't matter about the ability, because once you have a couple bad eggs who are, well, not even bad eggs, just players that want to leave or are thinking of leaving, it's toxic, and it spreads across the whole squad. And that's what I think's happened. But like Yannick said, he's a quality manager. And don't let the fact that he hasn't won any trophies fool you. This man, if he goes into one of the top teams in Europe, he wins trophies. He's quality. So, as a Chelsea fan, I'm happy because I honestly I don't think they can upgrade from there. A lot of people are talking about Mourinho, and I know we'll get onto that later. But I don't think Mourinho is an upgrade. I really don't.
Nini, before you tee Eunice up, can I just pick up on what Matisse said and remind everyone watching the stream that Amazon have got all or nothing for Tottenham this series, and I'm gonna pay whatever money I have to get the Amazon Prime.
Absolutely.
And
we should all watch it together and do a live stream of it. That'd be funny. Giving our instant reactions on that. That'd be
I hope they got
hilarious.
camera crew there tonight, just going like filming the sacking as it happens. Posters, boxes, like the
That's
whole
what
lot.
I mean. Like, I feel sorry for the editors. Like, you can imagine they're just about to wrap up the project, and then this has to happen. So, of course, shout out to you guys. It's going to be a long ass month. So, you guys, good luck to you. But Eunice, man, what was your thoughts on the whole news surrounding Poch, getting sacked randomly, earlier tonight?
I'm surprised yet not surprised. I'm not surprised because they're 14th. It's not a shock in modern football that a manager gets sacked because their team is really underperforming. We're not ones to talk. We're bright examples of that. But Pochettino is a top manager, and I'm a little bit sad for him. I know he's going to get big money out of this. He's going to get a massive paycheck, but the fact that modern football, even at a club like Spurs, where everyone was portraying them as a side that were going to go on the long run, try and build with the manager, build a massive long-term vision, and yet even so, they got to a Champions League final. It takes them a few months after that, and they get rid of their manager. It just goes to show you, modern football, no one's safe at all. And you got a feel for Poch, but I do think now this opens a door for him. I think Man United will be looking. I think if Man United slip up a few more results, they've got a window to sack Oli and get Poch in. So I think, it's not over for Poch, and it's probably just the beginning of his career in terms of his personal career. Spurs, yeah, we're going to get to Jose in a sec, aren't we?
Yeah,
So.
I think you guys at this note, because let's be serious, we're a Chelsea channel. We don't really care too much about what's happening at Spurs. The only reason why I'm even talking about this is because of the bombshell news that came out afterwards. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not going to lie, I was really not surprised by Mourinho being the front runner to take over at Spurs. I was not surprised at all. And, I think it's a perfect time now to really, delve into this matter and really start talking about it. And I don't know, for me, the immediate question all the fans are thinking about is, is Mourinho going to be a snake if he signs for Tottenham? I mean, it's as simple as that. Is the guy a snake? The legacy, the legacy he had at this club, let's be serious, in his personal career, he hasn't had the same heights he used to have. But, if he signs for Spurs, is this not a new low? Can it get lower than this?
Who's that directed to it, Nini?
Anyone that wants to go for it first. It's a free throw right now.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, very good question you've just posed there, mate. And I'd probably say this would be much more of a story if, say, he didn't take the United job. Now, the United job obviously isn't anywhere near in comparison to signing to Spurs in relation to Chelsea, but it's still a Premier League rival. They're another top club, and it would have hurt Chelsea fans because, there's the sort of potential romanticism of them always wanting that job, and that was his job. But after that, he got a little bit of ag from some Chelsea fans on a couple of the games, the stuff with Conte, because Chelsea fans bloody loved Conte. Like, he was like their war leader. And when he went out with Jose, no matter how you sort of respected Jose for what he's done, you were backing Conte, like, you know, the senile dementia and he's a little man and all that, and you were backing your boy at the time, which was Conte. So if none of that happened and he was just being gone to the Spurs job now, then that would be mental. But I think because of all that's happened in between, you know, you can just put a pin in Jose and be like, he was instrumental at the time, and everything else is irrelevant since 2015, in my opinion, or 16.
Yeah.
I think if you didn't cut emotional ties with Jose after he went to United, you only have yourself to blame. That's what I say to the fans who are like in outrage and they're ready to lose their love. I'm like, why did it take you this long? This man, ever since he came into football, has been a ruthless, stone cold killer. Like, he hasn't been one of these guys who have turned down opportunities because of this, that, and the third. He was an interpreter at Barcelona. He managed Real Madrid. He's been at Chelsea. Then he's joined Manchester United. I'd have no doubts that he would go to another Italian club as well if the opportunity came up at Juventus or some other club. Like, there's only so many jobs in football, and it was clear that he wanted to be in this league. So if he does join Tottenham, and he did say he wanted a challenge as well on a project, so there's only so many options for him, and I don't lose any respect for him for going to Tottenham. I'll lose love, obviously. I won't. I've already cut that anyway. But I wouldn't love him for going to Tottenham. But to not respect him, I don't think that makes any sense, because you have to look at him. You have to look at it from his point of view, and then secondly, you have to look at the fact that the guy is just a winner. That's all he wants to do, is just win. And
he's a hustler.
Anything after that really is secondary to him, and that's how it should be. You know, we've sacked him twice, for God's sake. It's not like we've bowed down to him and loved him, you know, continuously this whole time as well. Yeah. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah, it's a really good point you make there. The only thing I want to say, especially as someone who's advocated, especially for him to come back the second time, and just, you know, what he's done in terms of his managerial career is unbelievable. But I do think with him leaving Chelsea the second time, when he went to United, the reason why at that time I wasn't really fazed and I wasn't really, you know, like blaming Jose for going to United or whatnot, is because we got rid of him twice. Do you know what I mean? Man United are a club that you really, with all due respect, we're Chelsea supporters, but you got to recognise real. Man United are one of the biggest clubs on the planet. That's without question. What they've done, the club that they are, they're a dynasty. So when that opportunity comes, he's not going to turn that down. No manager's going to turn down Man United. So I completely understand. Spurs is where things get a little bit salty. And it only happens because of that deep Chelsea-Spurs rivalry. And I think that's where it is. It's not necessarily a personal thing with Jose, but for how much that he come out at the time when he was Chelsea manager, or any club that he goes to, and he always talks about his previous clubs and the respect he has for his previous clubs. There's a certain level here where, you know, any club but Spurs is kind of like the Chelsea thing, you know. Arsenal, other clubs that we don't really get along with, that's a footballing thing. That's more of a, you know, we kind of respect you as a rival on our level and we don't want you to do well. Spurs is a different story. It's a different kettle of fish. So to see our greatest ever manager go to Spurs, that's definitely love lost.
Yeah.
Definitely love lost.
For me, this deal doesn't make too much sense, because we know Mourinho's a manager that, you know, he needs money to spend.
Exactly.
Levy is the guy. I feel like Levy's figured out a way to take his money to the afterlife. I mean, the way this guy just does not want to give money for anything. I mean, Spurs got to a final of a European Cup. When will that ever happen again? And he still couldn't cough up the money for his manager, especially when Pochettino's been working with the same team for 5 seasons. It's not sustainable. That's why he wanted to revamp the squad, and Levy didn't do it. So what the hell is he expecting Mourinho? For me, maybe this is like some PR ploy. Maybe this is some political thing. Maybe Levy's thinking, you know what? You know, if we are going to be going downhill, at least Mourinho's going to get us some views or some people to watch us in this. I don't know. But it feels very short-termist, and it's a typical Premier League move. Let's be serious. It's a typical Premier League move where it's short-term over everything. And honestly, I'm okay with that. You know, I don't think personally as a manager, Mourinho has really adapted to the modern day demands as much. It'll be really interesting to see what he's going to do with some of the Spurs players. You know, how are they going to enjoy playing reactive style? You know, park the bus, you know, drop deep and sit back style of football. I can imagine Harry Kane, you know, being isolated up front and, you know, getting no service whatsoever. What's going to happen to Dele Alli? Is he going to turn into like the new like defensive midfield player or something? I'm not even too sure what's going to happen, you guys. But I'm here for it. I'll be honest. I'm here for it.
Nearly, mate. Yeah, like basically, I think one thing we can all agree on is it's gonna be box office, man. Like, like no matter what your thoughts are or your allegiances are with Jose or whatever, listen, it makes headlines regardless. He's always going to come out with some mind games. He's always going to be on the touchline.
Yeah.
Every time, if you watch a TV show with punditry about football, I listen to loads of football podcasts, and there's often like jokes on it. You know, all that stuff is fueled by Mourinho. If he's away in Europe or somewhere far away, he juices up the league, man. And one way or another, like, it's important. I think it's just going to be funny, man. So. I mean, like you say, Nina, he's going to be pragmatic. He recently came out and sort of threw shots at Lampard for not showing enough pragmatism. So he's going to bowl up. He's going to bowl up at North London. Yeah. Harry Kane's going to absolutely hate it, mate. And he's going to drop form even more. And then Tammy Abraham's going to have to be England's number one striker.
And maybe that's the master plan. Do
you know what?
Get Kane out the England team, Tammy in front of him. Maybe that's how it's going to work.
Yeah. I'd actually be more shocked if he'd gone to Arsenal than Tottenham, because for me, if we're talking about Jose, the real rivalry he's had with a club when he was with us is Arsenal. And it was all with Wenger and everything. So to see Arsenal dugout would actually surprise me more than Tottenham. But for me, the reason why, and you know, everyone's kind of feeling this as well, is I'm so happy with Lampard. I'm so satisfied. So I'm not really feeling that burn towards, you know, any other managerial merry-go-round or look at this guy's going to this team. And because I don't care, really. Like, I don't really care, because we're so comfortable, we're so satisfied. We have such a good project going, and there's such good football being played at our own team. And we have such a good, you know, cohesive group that I don't really need to worry about what's going on. And like Yannick just said, if you think about it, it's box office. It ticks so many boxes for the media, for everybody. And if you think about now the little riffraff that happened between Jody and Mourinho, and then you think about Chelsea versus Tottenham, with Mourinho versus Lampard, it's going to be beautiful. And I've always been able to see him as the enemy because he's that kind of character. So I don't mind going into that mode myself and looking at Mourinho in a Tottenham dugout and being like, let's finish it, boys. Because it's the same way we did it when he was at Man United and we slapped them 4-0 and it was beautiful.
I think sorry, mate. I was going to say, I think he might get into Lampard's head. I think he already did with the Mason Mount stuff. And I think he might just have a little nip at his kids, and Frank will get all defensive. And I see him as a new manager. I reckon he could get inside his head personally. But
I hear that, but you know, I'm looking at Mourinho's recent history so far, and he's slowly becoming an L magnet. Let's be serious. You know, if we play against Tottenham and we beat them, I mean, what is going to happen to his name after that? You know, everything he's been saying about, you know, criticising our defending in the game. Of course, Lampard and guys like Morris know that. I mean, it's the first year of a young team's, generation of playing in this squad, basically. You know, of course, they know they're not perfect just yet. Mourinho's stating the obvious. For me personally, it's been for very snide reasons. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, I went on Twitter to see if Morris tweeted anything. You know, of course he didn't. Obviously, Younes don't want to touch a nerve or anything, bro. No, I mess around. It's all off here. But,
no, it's cool.
But yeah, I mean, that was just, I mean, if anything, I was happy with that because it tells us that at least they watch us, they know what we're doing at least, you know? I never used to think that was the case, honestly. I didn't think they care about anything we did, anything we said. So at least it means that, you know, our voices are being heard. So, I mean, it's quite cool in that sense. But obviously, getting back to, you know, the whole Mourinho thing, and I don't know. I think maybe to get our conclusions, because I know you've got to leave soon, Younes. I'm going to start with you. Oh, sorry. Well, actually, you continue, bro. You continue.
Quick, I just want to say really quick, because talking about Lampard and Jose coming back to the bridge. First and foremost, before that happens, Jose's got to go to Old Trafford. So let him deal with that first. That's like in December, early December. So if he takes a job now, off to Old Trafford you go, mate. Good luck. So once he sorts that out, I do think we're not going to see what we saw in previous stints, like Conte and Mourinho. I think between Lampard and Mourinho, there's a massive respect. It goes way back. Lampard's spoken really, really well about Jose. Jose has spoken massively about Lamps and his professionalism and how good of a person he is in general. I do think that it will be a little bit more lighthearted. It will be a little bit more, mellow when we do play Spurs if Jose is their manager. So I think that the bigger fish that's going to get fried right now for Jose isn't with Chelsea, it's with Man United. So we'll see how he copes with that one. And when do we play Spurs?
I'm not even too sure. You know what? This would be the perfect time to plug in the One Football app, but I'm not plugging it for the stream tonight, you guys. But I know that obviously, as you're saying, Younes, United are playing. Spurs will be playing United on the 4th of December, so that's not
Old Trafford.
Old Trafford away.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see. But you know what? I do want to get people's conclusions now. Everyone's had time to to really just settle down and think about things deeply. My thing is Mourinho a snake? And I'm going to start with you, Younes. Your personal opinions. How do you feel about him potentially taking over at Spurs?
It's love lost. There's circumstances, and a very good point made earlier on is that there's only so many jobs available. But when you look at what he wants a project. He wants a club that can share his vision, a club where he's allowed to work. He doesn't need money. He doesn't need a job immediately. I mean, I'm sure he's happy at Sky Sports at the moment. They're paying him well. But, there are other footballing jobs about. There's the whole Bayern Munich situation. There are other options.
Even Real Madrid, Zidane.
Even Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because Zidane, that's tense at the moment.
Exactly.
So it's not a thing of this has to be now or never. It's a choice. And if it's a choice, that means, you have a purpose and you want to do it. You want to go there. And if you want to go to Spurs, it means, you're not thinking about us. Not necessarily Chelsea as a club, because we've sacked him twice. But the fans that he's admired and spoken about in the past, he knows, I'm sure he does, not just us, but other clubs he's managed, have that respect and underlying love for what he's done at their clubs. So, if he does go, that's love lost. And I'm saying that as a Jose advocate, someone who's admired his work, that's definitely love lost.
Fair enough. Mattis, man, your thoughts and opinions. Would you say that Mourinho is a snake, or the game's the game?
The game is the game. The game is the game.
The game is always the game.
The reality is.
I love the wire reference.
The game is the game, because do you know what? The football industry is so ruthless for players and managers that when it's ruthless the other way, I can only look at them and just nod my head in approval, because that's just how it goes. Like Younes said, it is love lost 100%. But like I said before, I'm not really worried about it, and I kind of relish it because I'm looking forward to looking at him as the enemy. Like I've always been ready to do that because of his character, because of his mannerisms, because of when he came back to the bridge and he held the three fingers up 3 times. He himself is prepared for war, and I miss a little bit of that. We need a little bit of war. There's in the league right now, there's not really any rivalry. Everyone's got respect for each other. Yeah. And I take what Younes is saying between Lampard and Jose having respect, but I tell you where there will be controversy that will make that fixture juicy and it will make that fixture heated is the fact that the Chelsea fans in that stadium will be livid. There's no mistake.
100%.
In that sense, I give respect to Mourinho for having the cojones, having the balls. Let's be serious. I mean, you got to be like a special, mentally strong type of guy to not even care about that stuff. Maybe you get that mentality when you've got like enough zeros in your bank account. Who knows? But honestly, we can all sit here and we can be measured and calm about it, but when you're at the bridge and you've had a couple pints before the game, you are pissed. Do you know what I mean? And if Mourinho is there in a Tottenham jumper or a Tottenham jersey, it's game over. That game is going to be the memes that will come out.
I haven't even thought of it that way.
No,
him wearing Tottenham. Flipping hell.
Can I give my 2 cents on
Of course,
on this
man.
one.
It's your turn.
Yeah.
Perfect
All right,
segue.
yeah, because like, all right, dude. So basically, Jose, right, for me at this point, he was one of the most integral, important figures in an amazing rise to power of Chelsea, right? And he will always demand respect from all people in football, not just Chelsea fans, right? But for me now, he's not Chelsea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's irreplaceable. He's incredibly important. He's like an irreplaceable component in our story, and that obviously has to be respected. But you know, you could look at someone like Di Matteo, who probably wasn't a very good coach, got the can, but he was, you know, jumping all over Abramovich and music. He's more Chelsea, you know, and he was a way worse coach. He is a hustler, Jose, and when he retires, people will make a box office film about him, I'm sure. You know, there's films coming out about Busby, probably a bit more classy than Jose's story with an eye poking and all this. But you will make the sickest film about
make
Jose.
a better film. Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Imagine like a high budget.
Maybe that's
film.
the plan. Maybe that's the grand plan by Mourinho.
From like, you know, the translator to the Porto super Hollywood story against to like Chelsea to Milan, the treble to Real Madrid breaking
it's Hollywood
the record.
stuff. He's a let's be serious. You know, he's a Hollywood guy. Let's be serious. Mourinho is a Hollywood guy with a Hollywood story and a Hollywood life.
And that's what this is, dude. Do you know what I mean? He's following it up. He's keeping true to his form, his box office, and the party must go on, and it's going to be hilarious.
It is going to be hilarious. And
love how you say that with a drink in hand.
Yeah, I mean, I like the vibe. I do like it. I kind of wish that I pour myself a little whiskey or rum or something right now, you know?
Man.
Hey, that's it. Keep it classy, my friend. But yeah, I'll throw in my little 2 cents. I don't know. I'm seeing things through like a very cynical perspective. You know, I can't help it. You know, Mourinho for me has always been a manager that's always got himself sacked from jobs. I don't think it's been because of outside circumstances. I've always felt that it's been his ego at times. You know, I think that you know, as he's been getting older, he's really he forces his style of football, and it doesn't really suit the modern day world anymore. You know, there's new positions, there's new roles, there's new tactics, there's new everything, and it's just like I just don't think that he's really adapted with how things are supposed to be. And you know, my cynical lens keeps going on. You know, when we play Spurs eventually this season, I bet you anything they're going to be dirty. They're going to be fouling a lot. Mourinho's going to bring back that Spurs versus Chelsea bad blood vibe. Come on, for sure he's going to bring it back. And you know, of course, with how he is, we know he's going to be sticking it on Lampard. He'll be going for some of the younger players too to get in their heads. That's what the guy's about. Because for me, he's always been a careerist guy. It's always been his career, him winning, and that comes above every single thing, every single time. It's, you know, him taking Spurs, yeah, it's a great opportunity to go back to London. Of course, he loves London. That's the main thing. He wants to be back in London with his family. Yeah. I felt for him, you know, football. He made a big sacrifice, you know, going to Manchester, you know, family, living in a hotel all the time. It's not really, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we're talking about football, but there's still human beings that are working in this industry, you know. So I sympathise from that perspective. So I can see why he wants to go back to Spurs, but I don't know. It just proves that he's always, you know, this whole love affair with us, has it really been a thing? I mean, you know, I'm not too sure. You know, when he signed for us, you know, we were a great club, a great opportunity for him to progress and move on. And, you know, that's what he did. You know what? At the same time, though, you know, the game is the game. I understand that. I don't know. To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed. I will be a bit disappointed. Even though he's perfectly entitled to sign for them. Personally, with a history, I remember the times I was a kid going to Stamford Bridge every single week, watching them. I was indoctrinated by Mourinho. Back when I was young, everything Mourinho did, I would defend 1000%. I wouldn't even question things or think about things differently. So, of course, you know, the fact that I started to, you know, look at the cracks that Mourinho was forming, and, you know, looking at, you know, the context behind his decisions and, you know, things he's done. I don't know, you guys. It's just really, I don't know. It's quite disappointing for me personally. But, yeah, I think maybe that's enough talk with Mourinho. Let's talk about more uplifting, exciting news, because tomorrow, you guys, we're finally going to get the appeal date for the Kaz transfer ban. We'll find out by tomorrow if we can sign players this January. All the videos are coming up from all of us. You know, we're talking about players we're being linked with. You know, reports are coming left, right, and centre. It's a madness right now. Let me actually get it up on screen so you guys can see the cast off. And yeah, starting with you, Mattis, what are your thoughts and opinions for tomorrow?
So to my understanding, will the decision be made tomorrow, or will we just? What's the situation?
Oh, wait, it's going to be
the hearing begins.
The hearing starts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the hearing starts.
Now, for me, I do want, obviously, having the transfer ban frozen is not really to our advantage. I don't think it's to any club's advantage, but we've just, out of all the clubs that it could have happened to, we've probably been the best equipped to deal with it. That's probably the only way I would look at it. If it is frozen, I would still want us to do our, due diligence before we go flying in for players, because we have a very good thing right now with the team. There's a lot of chemistry. Everybody knows each other very well. It's a very tight-knit group, and I don't want us to go, flying into this window. That's what a lot of fans are probably doing right now, flying into this window and just trying to take...
Mattis, can I just interrupt for one quick second?
Yeah.
Younes, bro. Younes, I'm not trying to put you under the bus right now. I know that you have to go right now. Are you able to stay still, or... I know you've got important things to do.
It's nice. All right, I've got a couple of minutes. It's fine.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
Sorry, Mattis. Go back, man.
Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping the cohesion remains, whoever we bring in. That's why I'm very selective with who we go after now. I think we've all seen the links. I think there was one on the Bleacher Report maybe as well that came up with, Chilwell, who's an England international. Sancho is another one being linked. Ake, who's homegrown, been at the club before. Those are the kind of targets that we've been looking at. And, opinions on player ability aside, they're all targets that would come into the squad and fit in immediately. Yeah. They would all gel with the team. They wouldn't cause any disruption or any discord. That's the kind of mood that Frank seems to be creating. And we've all looked at players, before the season started. We've wondered, are Chelsea going to make the top four? Are Chelsea going to be good enough with all of these loanees coming back? But one thing that was underestimated by many, including myself, was the cohesion and the togetherness of the group. And keeping that will probably push us a lot further than a lot of people expect. And then if we go for a marquee player that we've been linked with, I've seen people come out with Neymar, we remember those links, Mbappe, just any name they can think of. But is that really going to benefit the group? Yeah. So I'm happy with the targets right now.
Yeah, I definitely think it's something that needs to be considered. I mean, if you're going to make wholesale changes in the next window, if we're possibly able to sign players again, is that going to be detrimental to the players in the squad right now? All the players are putting in their maximum to, fight for their positions to get into the team. And if, let's say, we sign like 3 players in January, for example, is that going to really help us progress as the season goes on? I think if that was to happen, for me, it only implies that players would be going. We won't be adding players in. We'd have to replace players with outgoing players. But Jan, you're on screen. Perfect time, opportunity to give your thoughts and opinions.
Cool. Well, I'll definitely echo the sentiments of Matisse there about how, regardless, when you support a big football team and you've got P like Chelsea and you've got Hazard money, Morata money, third place finish money, Europa League title winning money.
Oh, keep talking.
Dude, do you know what I mean? You're on a hype thing, but like Matisse made some, almost too much sense, man. Like, do you take the risk? Do you rock the boat? Do you kill the vibe? Do you ruin the narrative? Like for me, you could. I'd do videos about this, like you do, man. And I talk about you speculate where this money could go into a Hollywood blockbuster signing, right? Now we're probably going to talk about it, so I just want to bring it up. Now,
I thought you were going to say a Hollywood film. Sorry.
Yeah. We'll talk about. Yeah, that's it, dude. But so Pedro's cooked, right? Willian, I know Lampard proper fancies him and wants to sign him for 2 years, but he's on his way out. We could definitely sign a blockbuster winger because you got Hudson-Odoi, you got Pulisic. So there's 2 top tier starting wingers, but you need more than 2, man. So there's a Chelsea fan who's best buddies with Hudson-Odoi. He comes from the same ends as Tammy Abraham, and his name's Jadon Sancho. And apparently he's told Dortmund he wants out, and the ethos of the club coming back to London, the attacking football, all the vibes lit right. The Eden Hazard money could be well invested on him. It does make sense. in my opinion. I feel like he does match the profile of everything. The only reservation I have, I know you guys will talk about different signings, and I don't want to ramble on for too much, but the only reservation I have about this particular signing is our Captain America, who's at the moment looking like he could do anything at the moment. I feel like he's the technical, dribbling, creative, key passing player, but Lampard's like imbued this like run into the box and slam your ribs against the post bravery that was, peak Frank Lampard, that wasn't in his game before. And I was thinking, damn, Pulisic could become like an absolute beast, man. And if this guy, Jadon Sancho, who like, I know there's more to the narrative, but he like got, basically stepped into a space at Dortmund, follows him to bloody Chelsea after all that, man. I kind of feel bad for him after all that, man. Do you know what I mean? So I know like Pulisic was injured. He apparently refused to sign a new contract, so hence the rise of Sancho. But that's got to be a bummer, man. You got to think, fucking hell, man. Now he's followed me to London. My hype and it might damage what is an amazing thing right now in Pulisic.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and even that point about Pulisic as well. Of course, last season at Dortmund, he wasn't really in the team as much. Obviously, Lucien Favre, the manager of Dortmund at the moment, he was replaced by the who was it? The Danish winger, I think Larsen, his name is. And I'll be honest, I was quite cynical at the start when it came to the Pulisic signing. At the time, we didn't know if Hudson was going to stay. We never knew if Hazard was definitely leaving or not. I was looking at things like Pulisic not really playing any games. I was just like, is he really the right signing we need right now? Of course, you guys completely wrong. I'm never going to be afraid to say I'm wrong. He's been excellent this season, and he's really taken me by surprise and really impressed me. And it just gets you thinking a lot of times too that you're not going to get the fair reflection if you without like the right necessary context. And I think the advantage that we have at the club right now is the environment. We've got an environment where we've got, top coaches that know how to get the best out of young players, know how to make them feel confident, know how to get them playing to their best type of football. And I think that this is why Pulisic, for me, has improved as a player. I feel like he's got a lot better. A lot of the things he was doing at Dortmund, he's doing it much better for us right now. And it makes things really exciting when you consider that we could look at a lot of young under 21, under 23 players. And the advantage we have is that we have the perfect conditions and environment to really maximize and get the best out of any young player. I mean, how many examples? It can't be a coincidence that every young player this season has not struggled at all, and they've only been excelling and improving. That can't be a coincidence, because is it a coincidence when Morris and Edwards and other, youth team coaches have made a step up to the first team? Guys like Petter above, that's, helping to be the voice between the manager and the... I mean, of course not. This is no coincidence. And this is where the window gets even more exciting now, As we've been seeing, we've been linked with a lot of young players recently. A ton of young players.
Yeah.
And it just gets you thinking that, you look at certain young players, we think, okay, are they as good as they can be? Well, yeah, if we're comparing, like, let's say a Pulisic to his time at Dortmund, then of course not, but a Pulisic here is a completely different story. And I think, I think one player that looks like there could be a lot more interest with us. I said that so wrong. Sorry, you guys. It's hard doing this OBS and talking at the same time. Apologies. But obviously, Sunderberg, I did a video on him today. He's come out in reports as well. I'm hearing that there's been a lot of scouting in regards to the player, and he's someone that the club are looking at. And I'm thinking of this guy, and I'm thinking, of course, he's not the finished article yet at all. Of course not. But, if he's going to come to us, where he's got the perfect environment to really develop and blossom even more, things become even more exciting.
Yeah, I think just to touch on signings, I think Sancho is a deal that I see being done very similar to the Pulisic deal, is that we make the transfer somewhat complete, but it doesn't actually go through until the summer, because obviously that's a big transfer, and it's very rare that a player and a club even feel that it's right for him to make that move in January, just because of, there's no preseason and whatnot. But I think in terms of signing a player, I think if there's any position we need to sign a player, and I would take the ban being unfrozen, and that's the only reason why it would be at left back, because I think Emerson was left out of the last squad for Italy. I don't know if there's another niggling problem with him there, but he's definitely a player that's looking not injury prone. I won't say that because that word gets thrown about too soon sometimes, but he's certainly looking like a player who needs to be managed.
Yeah.
And the only player, and I go through the whole squad and I look at centre backs, and some people will say we need Ake or we need a world class centre back, but I can see potential for improvement at centre back. I can see potential for improvement in midfield when Loftus-Cheek comes back. I can see Batshuayi continuing to be a great deputy for Abraham. Even on the wing, Williams having a great season. I can wait until the summer. The one position I cannot wait is left back, because Alonso, and I've watched him live now a lot of times this season, he is giving me nightmares. And I don't want to say any more words because this should be family friendly, but this guy, I cannot bear to watch him in a Chelsea shirt any longer. I just want him to pack up and just respectfully just move aside for a Chilwell or whoever it may be. I'm not really even too bothered. As long as they have a bit of pace, they can pass the ball, they're technically sound, and then we can go from there. Because, you know, this guy, when I'm watching him, it's honestly torture. Now, I know Maddison is probably too soon. I would even sooner start moving him into the team just on a rotational basis before I play Alonso.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, man. I think that the only issue is with Leicester being such a high-flying club right now. I mean, if we want to get Ben, I mean, we're paying more than 60 million to sign him.
And the rest.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's going to be a ridiculous amount of money. Maybe the solution is we have Aspie acting as the makeshift left back until the end of the season. Maybe it's time to look at a right back or players that can play in that position. I mean, one guy that I really like, and he's someone that you know, since you guys know I'm a football geek. I'm constantly reading articles and news about football all across Europe. And one guy that took my attention last season was a guy called Younes Ital. Now, of course, when I'm talking about Ital, Younes has to talk about him. You know,
Younes'
Algerian connection. I can see the smile on his face.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, I know that Ital likes your tweet too, bro.
I'm so happy you said his name.
That's what I mean. I'm looking at a guy like this. He can play here. He can play there.
He's quality, man. Honestly. What's mad is, you know, I remember seeing him play in the Algerian league, and it's really rare for someone to make it out of there into Europe and then start flying. There's players that make it to Europe, but they don't fly. Either they're born in France, or they're born here, or they're born in Spain, and you know they're brought up the European way. This guy is authentic, and the moment he went over to France, got picked up by Nice, and he's just progressing and progressing and progressing. He's only 22. I mean, it's scary, and the performances you see him display for the national team, and now he's an African Cup winner. He's just so versatile. And even surprising for me, because I've always known him as a right back. But in instances, especially in France, where he's been shifted a little bit more forward, or sometimes he's even been flung on the left-hand side and he's put in a job, he's done a job, he's put in a shift, and it's just worked. He's really, really versatile. So with the Marcos Alonso problem we have, alongside the fact that Aspie is starting to come to an end, maybe not this season, into next season perhaps, I think that it'll be good competition for Reece James to stay on his toes. I think it'll be good cover for our left back position. And he's young, he's hungry, or someone who take the opportunity and won't be too big for his boots. That's the one thing. And this is why I'm kind of skeptical with the transfer ban being ended early, because I don't want us going after players that are too big for their boots, players that are going to come and disrupt the harmony, think that they're, you know, bigger than what they are. I'm confident that Atal is not that, and that's why I'm happy for the club to go after him. As well as, you know, any other signings. Hopefully Sancho is of that same mould. Won't really know, but he's got that chemistry with a lot of our players, so that probably does help. But I think it's all about chemistry and harmony. Lamps has something beautiful going on at the moment with these with these young players coming through. The fact that they've all grown up together. We need to add players from elsewhere that are going to help increase our level, but to add to that harmony and make sure everyone's on that same vibe. No disruptors. And Atal will be one of them.
Just to add in there, I said this a while ago, Atal is the perfect January signing. He plugs so many holes. Left back, right back, left wing, right wing. He's skillful. He's quick. Do you know what I mean? This guy, He's not even being overhyped. He is quality. And like you said, that's good to know. That's the one thing I wasn't sure about was the mentality. So I'm glad that you've cleared that up for us, because he would be a fantastic signing, and it wouldn't be as expensive as Ben Chilwell as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I haven't looked into it properly, but I think Nice aren't in Europe right now. So that means if we signed him, he'd be able to play in the Champions League for us. So that's an even bigger bonus. You know what I thought? You know, I look at Etal and I've always thought, I really see this guy evolving to play further up the fields. I think he's so good at getting past opponents and beating his men. And we've seen that he does have a goal threat. I think that's the evolution of the player. But that's what I'm saying, you know. If you have multifaceted, multi-dimensional players, that's only going to be good for the squad. And with Lampard, he likes options and he uses them. That's the most important thing. So I guess with everything we're saying, I think we're all assuming that the first player we try to sign would be a fullback in January if it's open. And the funny thing is, you know, there's still a possibility that our appeals like rejected, and we've just wasted our time completely. And then exactly, then people will call us dickheads later on in the future.
Don't let the truth ruin a good story, man. Never let the truth ruin a good story.
Exactly. I learned that from the Sun too, man. But but it's funny. It's funny because I don't know. It's the first window where I can't really predict who we might sign. Okay, I think we've got to look at it like this. If we can sign players in January, who are the players we think might be leaving? Because that will give us an indication of who might be replacing them.
Well, can I speculate, dude? I think we know Pedro. I think we know Pedro's cooked, and a lot. Matt is right about the form of Willian. He's been like invaluable for Chelsea this season, and Lampard will want Willian. Make no mistake, he will want to keep Willian in that spot. Yeah. But Willian might want things that Chelsea aren't prepared to give him for a multitude of reasons. So obviously, there might be 2 senior exits, and bearing in mind, Willian might get offered a free 4-year contract at Juventus or Barcelona. Stuff that he genuinely can't turn down, even though he likes being in Chelsea. He still fancies himself as a great player, clearly a very talented player. We won't get into the debate. But in terms of leaving, apparently, I mean, I've heard some people say Barkley's on his way out. And if to be honest, if Barkley's on his way out, I'd find out if we're able to recall Conor Gallagher in as a deputy to Mason Mount as a conventional number 10, or to play as an attacking midfielder, and that wouldn't necessarily be a signing. But you guys are right to speculate about Ben Chilwell. Like Younes, when he quite eloquently spoke about how at the moment it's very much the feel-good factor that's making Chelsea good. It's making Chelsea good off the pitch in the media, and it's making Chelsea, more importantly, good on the pitch. Someone, I don't want to like hit the box office like bell too much, but Jadon Sancho would absolutely fit into that. You know, he played with these guys. He has got the chemistry. He said he's looked up and idolized Frank Lampard. So he would, even though he's big star, he's gone 200k a week now or something, he would be like forced down to be humble under Frank Lampard. He's not going to like a club like Dortmund, who's huge, but he can feel like he's this English trailblazer, talented superstar. No, mate, you're back in West London. Chelsea have won the Champions League not too long ago. You're playing for Frank Lampard. Exactly. Get your head down and combine with your mates and prove why you're a hot shot.
And if I could just literally cut in a second, what you're saying was what I wanted to get onto when I was speaking about, the comparison with Pulisic at Dortmund and Pulisic here. Of course, Sancho, I thought he started the season really good for Dortmund. He's plateaued a tiny bit, but I think sometimes we can see the plateau. I've seen some stuff on Twitter where Sancho's got 50-something% dribbling success rate. That's not. Listen, he's like 19, 20 for someone his age. That is really good. We have to always remember we're talking about young players. By the time they're 23, 24, I'm always going to use Sterling as the example. Completely different. I remember back with Sterling, everyone thought he'd never be a world-class player. He'd never be good. He can't finish. He's terrible in the books. And he was. For how many seasons was he bad at taking opportunities? But you work on it, you work on it, you work on it. And I think a lot of times world-class players become world-class because of the mentality. So I think, let's say if we're signing Sancho's and stuff, we have to understand, we have to have patience. What we're seeing with what let's say he comes, by the time he's 23, 24, it's a completely different story. And I think for me, that's why he's worth the money. And I'm assuming that we all want him to sign for us. I think it makes too much sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Also, Nini, just before you continue what you're saying. Also, I know it's an arbitrary thing, but he broke the record in the Bundesliga, didn't he? For the 15 goals, he's the youngest ever player to reach 15 goals in the Bundesliga for the last like 60 years. And you'd be like, okay, who would that be? Oh, I imagine it's going to be like a young German number 9 who plays for Bayern Munich. No, it's an English winger that's only just recently come in and plays for Dortmund. Do you know what I mean? Like, this kid's hot. So it really is something special.
I think also, what people are underestimating is how perfect a rotation and competition for places is between 3 young up-and-coming talents, between Pulisic, Sancho and Hudson-Odoi. And people are always speculating who starts and who's going to be on the bench, who's going to be unhappy first. This is perfect competition. We're in 4 competitions yearly, and they're not all going to be in form. As we're seeing right now, everyone was talking about this dream situation of Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi playing at the same time on either wing. That's not happening right now because literally Hudson-Odoi is in worse form and, not even bad form, but just in worse form than Pulisic, and Willian's playing well. Yeah. So you can't even get them both into the team right now, let alone, when Sancho's here. So there's no better situation than having 3 hungry players battling for the same positions for 2 spots in 4 competitions. And I don't see any sort of ego, issue arising when you're bringing a young kid into a selection of young kids. I don't think anyone can rise above another and just start playing the ego card because you've got Tammy there who's top, battling top scorer. He could easily go and get an ego, but he's focused and he's hard, working hard. Tomori, first England call up, Mount getting his first goal. There's a lot of, achievements being made in our squad for another player to come in and be like, I don't need to have an ego here. Everybody's on my level. So I don't think there's an issue there at all. Definitely not.
Yeah. I think especially with Tammy, because don't forget, there's Sancho and some of the players in our side that have some really good bonds, but Tammy and Sancho grew up in the same area.
Yeah.
Proper. They're both Camberwell lads, and they, so they've known each other since they were this high. So it's
this high, Tammy would have been loving it.
Well, yeah, Tammy at 10 was like, that's the thing, and that's the only worry. The only worry that I had in terms of this transfer window was bringing in players who, even if they're young, are getting a bit carried away in their heads, thinking that they're better than what they are. And I don't think Sancho is that, and it's clear the evidence is there that he isn't. I just hope he doesn't adopt that mentality for the remaining time he is at Dortmund because of the money he's on. He's a star man. I do hope that if he was to come to Chelsea, Lamps will tell him from the get-go. His teammates, Tammy, who he's known since they were boys, will tell him from the get-go, look, this isn't, that doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
And as long as he's cool with that, then absolutely healthy competition without a doubt.
I mean, I think the rally is to, when these guys haven't even fully developed in their bodies just yet, none of them would be expected to play a full season's worth of games. It's not going to happen anyway. I think that rotation is good. I mean, it's a great thing to have. And, again, when you look at the players that will be going, I think definites Olivier Giroud and Pedro. They're 2 definites. I think very high possibilities would be Ross Barkley going as well. I don't think Lampard's a really big fan of him. And, guys like Alonso's, maybe Azpilicueta if the right offer's coming for them as well. I can imagine that Lampard would like to keep some type of experience in the squad, because obviously with a lot of young players, you need to have that. You need the old heads at the top so that, show you the levels, help you during like tough mental times and, show you like what to do. You know what I mean? So that's the only that's the thing that a lot of us aren't thinking about. Let's say all the experienced players go. Is it healthy to have a young team? I mean, is it healthy to have such a young squad consisting of so many young players under 23, 24?
It's why I have never been the one to jump on this Kante out train, and it's something that becomes so crazy on Twitter only.
Sorry, Kante out.
Yeah, because he's had a few injury issues, and
sorry, bro. I have to actually interrupt you.
Whoever's saying that's on something.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, man. We can't talk about that type of timeline stuff here. I'll tell you why. Because I'm a nice guy. I'll tell you why. I made this mistake time and time again. You see something crazy on Twitter, and in your head,
you give fuel to it.
Your instincts that, this is the general consensus. It's not. It's about 10, 15 guys. The minute they say something crazy and one of us, or you start retweeting it or commenting back, you start to make it bigger than what it actually is. When you do the polls reveal everything, and then you realize it's like 5% of people that think that, and it's just like they're most likely under 13 years old and don't really know what they're talking about. Just yet. But it's okay, 13-year-olds. I was at that stage too. You'll grow up and you'll learn more.
Can I play devil's advocate, but at the same time, caveat this with I am N'Golo Kante in.
Okay.
Kante, right? He's the best interceptive, destructive midfielder. He's not the conventional DM. He's not. I know he's brought goals to this game, and that's amazing. But regardless, he'll always be like a destroyer, interceptive midfielder. He's creative now. He scores goals, great. But that's what he's like born to do. That's what all the memes came from about the Kante twins and the covering every blade of grass and all that. Right, so he's always relied on his engine. Never before has he endured a period of sustained injury like this. This is new to him. Yeah. How old is Kante? 28, going on 29? 28,
yeah.
28, right. So he's going on 29, right. Now, Kante at the moment would still demand a world record fee for a defensive, interceptive midfielder. He would bring serious P, even though if you're looking at him, you're like, this dude, sweetest man in the world, would be happy to play at Chelsea, is at present the only world-class talent in the Chelsea squad. Not looking at these potential kids, a load of them could become world-class, but in terms of full package world-class, he's the only one. So you look at that, but you think we could sell him to PSG now for, say, £150 million, a player that's currently not playing in this squad that is doing really, really well and has this wonderful, beautiful chemistry. It's going really, really well. And midfield isn't a problem with us. He's not playing, and it's not a problem for us. So you think, well, 150 million, and we've got players like Ampadu, other DMs to come in. We could get a decent DM. Kovacic and Jorginho is looking good. Well, that's not our weakest spot yet. Maybe Kante's seen his best days. We're not saying he's not amazing, but I'm just posing the question: if you could I'd like to keep him because he's sick, and what's the point? We've got P's anyway because we sold Hazard. I'm just posing the question that if you brought up a load of tangibles about what's happening, what else you've got youth, how old he is, these recent injuries, and how he's not actually being an integral player at the moment, that maybe there could be a case made for it. But I'm Kante in.
I know. You know what? You're making a fair point, because here's the thing: football clubs, owners, they have to think as cynically as possible, because you have to prepare for every possible future. You don't know what's going to happen. I personally think, let's say, and God forbid, I'm touching wood. You guys touch wood as well, please. God forbid, Kante's knee injuries.
Eunice, stop touching your penis.
Hey, whatever wood you want to touch, it's Nini after dark. It's no rules. That's it, man. That's it. But you know what? God forbid his knee injury. Let's say he became a Michael Essien. I'm always gonna be angry, because I'll be angry at Sarri, and I'll have to be angry at Frank a bit for constantly rushing this guy back non-stop. Against Arsenal. Of course, beat them 4-1 in that final, but. Kante didn't even play as... Actually, no, Kante was very good in that game. What am I talking about?
Yeah. Oh, he's amazing in the final.
Yeah, of course, he was amazing. Yeah. What am I even thinking about? Yeah. He was amazing. Kante, But, the amount of sacrifice he has to make all the time. And my thing is, I don't think we could afford to get rid of Kante, regardless if we could get 200 million or 150 million for him, because, clubs like Real Madrid are desperate for a midfield player like Kante. So we get a premium instantly. But our issue is, if we sell him, we become weaker, because there's no player on the market that could replace him. Now, I know guys might say guys like Ndidi and stuff, but I for guys like Ndidi, I think I need to see at least another 2 seasons to see how he progresses and develops, because it's not just about winning the ball, it's about how you move the ball, how you play with the ball. And I think that's why I've always loved, from the first time I saw him play at Leicester, I was like, wow, I've never seen a player that tackles like Makelele. His body's always in front. He wins the ball so cleanly. He's not giving away fouls unless he wants to give away a foul, But it was how he moved the ball. It's how he plays. This is why Sarri saw that Kante had the possibility of playing further forward, because of, how he reads the game, how he's always a step ahead. And we've seen this season, amazing games against Liverpool. You know, both games against Liverpool, completely. He kind of looked like Cover a bit, how he was running with the ball and getting past players. You know, there's no one on the market right now we could possibly replace Kante with, and I think this is why guys like Sander Berg are quite interesting, because he's a player that has a lot of very interesting attributes. If he develops in the right path and really continues to grow, you know, he's a long-term player that could one day maybe replace a Kante in the future, you know. Right now, he's not that replacement. And let's say we sold Kante and put all our trust in him, I think he'd fail, because the expectations and the demands and pressures too much for a young 21-year-old that's, you know, still playing in Belgium right now, you know. So I think, of course, I see the logic behind the debate, but I just think right now we can never afford to get rid of Kante.
I think I do think that with say if we got rid of Kante, and this is probably going to be my last point, I have to shoot off this, by the way, sorry. If we did get rid of Kante, devil's advocate, we got rid of him, I guarantee in the near future there'd come a game where we're watching and we're going, crap, we could really do with Kante here.
It looks weak,
hands down. Weak. It's, you know, there'll be games like now, it's nice that we're coping without him, you know, or the games that he's not there, we're coping because Jorginho and Kovacic are doing such a good job. But you are going to come against opposition. You are going to find games where one of them has an off day, or that combination isn't working, or, you know, your opponents are playing a system that completely nullifies what Jorginho and Kovacic are doing, and you bring Kante into the setup, it will help, but he's not there. So it's inevitable that we will find ourselves in circumstances like that, and when that happens, you open yourselves up to opponents to figure how you play, to figure out a way to beat you. And Kante is a player that can not only just help the defense, but is able to penetrate, go forward, and cause absolute mayhem up top. So yeah, I just hope, as you said, it's not the same situation as Essien.
Yeah,
I hope that it's not an injury that's going to limit him for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
But Lamps has said that we are going to wait until he's 100%. There's no more rushing back. We're going to wait until he's back properly, and then we'll start playing him. But yeah, I wouldn't sell him. No way.
Exactly.
Unless he's like finished, like the decline starts and you can see he's letting everything through, then we can consider. But I don't think that'll happen.
I think decline and Kante, it doesn't seem like
it doesn't go.
It doesn't go together.
He'll play like this until he's 40.
Exactly.
Can I just strengthen Younes's point? He obviously makes a lot of sense, and not only that, like you look at Kante. Kante's done performances like in defensive sense of what Eden Hazard used to do in attacking senses. You know, when they just light up the pitch because they're doing their job so well, creativity. Do you remember these games when Kante would just have people purring because he was just 90 minutes, he was constantly intercepting, he was getting the ball back, and then, you know, Cover and Jorginho might have wicked games, and we talk about it, but neither of them are going to do what Kante can do for 90 minutes when people just like, he makes headlines the next day for making defending sexy again, man. That's a hard thing to do as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like when Conte's Italy, like Bonucci, Barzagli, you know, and Bonucci suddenly made defending cool again. You know, it's like this dude comes off a plane with a suit in like aviators, and like in the Euros in 2016, everyone was like, defending's cool again. Kante, he's not like a stylish dude, but he's made defending cool again, and he's iconic for that. So it would be a lot in that sense. And
I think
right, sorry, I've got to shoot.
Before you go, man, of course, you guys, Younes, you can see his Twitter on page, and of course, make sure you subscribe to him on YouTube. You'll see in the cards above, somewhere in the live stream, there'll be a link taking you straight to his channel, so make sure you click on that, give him a subscribe, because, you know, we're all one Chelsea community. We all want to grow together, get big together, and when we do that, it's only good for you guys. So Younes, thank you for coming on last minute, bro. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, lads. Thank you.
See you soon, man.
See you soon, man. See you soon, mate. Nini, good luck. See you soon, mate.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
You guys, you know what? We'll probably talk for the next 15 minutes because, let's be serious, I'm having fun. I'm having a lot of fun. It's good talking football.
It's great, man. Also, to touch on that Kante point, like you guys said, I don't think he's a player that's going to decline sharply. I think if anything, it will be gradual. But, you know, we played a lot of relegations or bottom half sides recently. And, you know, we said before, after the Liverpool game, this was the run of games we need to go ahead and win. And we've done that. I think against Man City, we will see if he doesn't play that miss. Latter stages of the Champions League, we'll see what he really does for us. I think right now it's probably underappreciated how valuable he actually is and what different attributes he brings to that midfield. And if I'm looking at in-house people that can replace him or be part of the solution, Ethan Ampadu right now is a player that's seriously underrated. I've always been talking about this kid. He's obviously been on the scene since 15, playing in the League Cup for his debut for Exeter. He's come through, obviously signed for us. He's playing for Wales on an international level, and he hasn't even been getting minutes at Leipzig to even be keeping himself up to scratch. And he's putting in proper performances at international level. So for me, that is the player that if we are looking to replace Kante, so to speak, he's part of the solution. He has to be part of the solution because he's so versatile. He's good on the ball, but off the ball as well. He's got the leadership traits as well to throw into the hat if you're looking for a potential captain in the future. You know, Azpilicueta's role in that sense has been up for debate. Jorginho looks like the next person to take it. But if you're looking at upcoming leaders, you're looking at Reece James, Ampadu, what they can do for this side off the pitch and on the pitch. He is going to be, for me, a colossus. If I had to pick one more player to make it, I have to pick Ampadu because I think he's going to bring unique traits to this team. Unique.
You know what? Obviously, you guys, viewers, at this point in time, we've finished talking about the Kaz and transfers. We're just talking about things in general right now. So you're more than likely to stay, But of course, it's like nearly 1,000 people here right now. So I don't know why you said it so blasé like that. But
big up yourself for saying that, man. Because you made me, like, the way you went off there. Yeah, you made me remember that I'm actually so hyped on Ampadu. Like, the thing is, people have forgot because he's had such a bad time at Leipzig under Nagelsmann. Let's be honest. I'm sure myself, I'm definitely sure Nini. Well, I'd like to think we all thought that was a really good move for him, considering how Leipzig play young players, Nagelsmann as a coach, and just generally as a good attacking club. So everyone was like, oh, it's peak, he's not playing or whatever. But I was so hyped on Ampadu, man. Not just because of his technical ability, because his physicality, how he was sending 32-year-olds off injured after a clean tackle. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and he has got the leadership quality.
I hear you. You know what, you guys, you might not like what I'm about to say.
No,
here's the thing. Of course, there's context that you got to consider. He's still young, meaning that I'm not, my opinions aren't definitive. I'm not one of those guys that, like, my ego is so important that, whatever I say, I'm always right. Of course not. When you're young, anything can happen. I'll be honest. Of course, Ampadu is talented. He's a talented player. I haven't personally ever felt like he's the next second coming of anything just yet. I used to think maybe like Trevor Chalobah was a bit better than him, especially on moving the ball. And I look at Ampadu sometimes, and my only, I'll say critique, but what's the nice word for critique? What's like a nice word for critique? Is there one? That's probably not. I'm assuming if it's like nearly 11 o'clock, there's only like adults watching this anyway, so I don't have to pander too much. But anyway, of course, there's areas in this game he can improve upon. I'm not too sure if he's ready just yet for any substantial role in the team. I think he needs game time, and I think that's what's really stifled Ampadu. For someone that's been an international for Wales for so long, it's kind of criminal that he hasn't been given a loan move earlier, and he hasn't been used as much. I think, how old is he now? Like 19 years old or something?
Yeah, 18.
Still a teenager,
19. Yeah, he's still really young. I'm not surprised that he's not playing too much at RB Leipzig when you consider they got guys like Kanati, Upamecano, a lot of great young defenders and great young midfield players as well. So it was always going to be a bit of a struggle for him to get into the team. Of course, now that there's injuries in the RB Leipzig team, this is a prime opportunity for Ampadu now to show what he's about. I think he'll be in the team this week for RB Leipzig's game against whoever. And, maybe with a run of game times and some confidence, we'll start to see what the player's really about. But I just think that maybe Ampadu is like a long-term project right now. That's for me personally. I'm not expecting him to be in the equation for maybe the next 2 seasons, if I'm being honest.
Can I just pick up on that, mate? Because so I dig what you're saying, right? So for what like Billy Gilmore has in technical ability and he misses out on physicality. It's like what Ampadu has. They're like, but in terms of like drive and quality and desire to play for Chelsea and right mentality, I think they both share that. Like you could argue maybe generations ahead.
Yeah.
You know, you might get Ampadu playing the 6 and Billy Gilmour playing the 8 or the 10. But he one thing that again when Matthias was going off there, I remembered how this kid was dropped in as a very young teenager, and he was like, "What?" Shrugged his shoulders, and he didn't complain when he was bodied off the ball. But the thing is, he was rarely bodied off the ball. Like, you know, the thing is, I love Billy Gilmour because this kid looks like your 14-year-old brother, right? And he's like so talented, but he will get stuck in because this kid's from Glasgow. But he is super lightweight. You know, you could say it'd take a while for Modric to like just deal with it or whatever. And these like really skinny kids, but you know, he is. I've watched him live a few times, and he gets his arms up. Ampadu is just stuck in. He'll literally injure the other guy for a clean tackle. He can play long, accurate balls like he's done for Wales, more so Wales than he did for Chelsea or probably even Exeter. But the way we saw him played, under Sarri, I saw Ethan Ampadu play 4 different positions, right? I saw it at the bridge, right? I saw him play him at the Regista role to deputise for Jorginho, which was a bit of a disaster. I saw him play the advanced 8. I saw him play centre back. I saw him play right back
too, yeah.
Right back too. So 4 positions. So they can see this kid. It's like, well, this kid's clearly very talented. We need to get him into the team. He's completely unfazed by the physicality, and he's got nerves of steel. I think all those qualities just are paired so brilliantly with what Lampard and Jody want for their team moving forward. I think he hasn't got an attitude problem. Nothing phases him, and I see what you're saying, Nini, about like you haven't seen any immense technical ability to.
No, I'm not. Of course, you know, he's got decent techers. I mean, to play for this club and to play in the youth team, I mean, you have to be good on the ball.
To pick him up, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. My thing is that I don't know. He's always kind of been used as a centre back during the youth team, for the youth teams, and I don't know, like in midfield, is his passing crisp enough, like consistently crisp enough to, you know, really, you know, break down teams if he has to? I mean, of course, defensively, I mean, I think he's amazing. I like how tight and aggressive he is, and that's my favorite type of defending. You know, close down the spaces, get in front of your man, use your body, that physicality. You know, he's got that Ampadu, but you know, of course, when you're playing for us, it needs to be a bit more. And this is what I'm saying. My opinion is not definitive because we're talking about someone that's still a teenager. Yeah, with game time, with development, areas he improves upon. You know, it's not as if I'd ever be upset to talk about Ampadu improving. Of course not, because, you know, I've never been that type of guy in football anyway, to be honest. But I'm just thinking right now, I just don't see him I don't see him being a major part of the team until maybe he's at least 21, 22.
He needs to sort out the stanky hair as well, man. Like, you know, can I just say that I don't know what you boys are saying, but I was really hyped on the Leipzig loan. I thought it was the perfect. Yeah. Okay, so Matisse, right? I was hyped on the manager, the club, the league, the type of football he's going to play, the fact that they play youth. So I was joking with my mate, like I joked about Ampadu going away for this one loan in Leipzig, like killing it, coming back, like still got the dreads, but they're tied up and he's shaved at the side like a movie when he comes back after an apocalypse, and he's like, you know, he's changed, man. He's a killer now, but like he's still stinky hair like Ampadu, and he's on the bench, man. So stuff hasn't really. That's why I got hyped when you like reminded me of how I was buzzing.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, RB Leipzig, you know, they're a team in Germany known for, you know, developing and, you know, bringing through a lot of great young players themselves. I mean, looking at their defenders, as I'm saying, Upamecano, you can imagine this guy costing more than 50 million one day. Kanate, this guy's a huge mountain. And in midfield, they've got guys like Tyler Adams, that American defensive.
Yeah, he's good.
Looking quite good. You know,
and they did
Dame's always been there. You know, Campbell, they signed Haidara from RB Salzburg. He's another. You know, RB Salzburg's like a finishing school for RB Leipzig. So, you know, I
don't think Haaland's going to go there, but
exactly, he could potentially to replace Timo Werner.
Actually, that's true. Yeah.
Exactly, I can imagine him being smart and thinking, instead of going straight to a big team where I might not get game time.
They wanted a utility player as well. They said they wanted a utility player who could play defensive midfield and centre back.
Yeah,
you know, that's utility players often don't
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen RB Leipzig in the Champions League this season. They've looked quite good, and I'm just thinking, of course, there's only 11 spots in the team. I just wasn't expecting Ampadu to get an instant first team spot. It's a great test because he has to compete. Yeah.
I think the reason why I slightly disagree, and I think Ampadu being nurtured under Frank and Jody, I think would really speed up his not obviously maybe his development, is good at Leipzig, the training that he's getting, but I think he would shock a lot of people how quickly he could become part of this team. The only reason why I say that is because if you look at our targets, they're all quite versatile. If you look at, we're talking about Atal, we're talking about Ake, who could seamlessly go into a back three on the left side. He's left-footed, but can also play at left back, can also play at centre back in the two.
Left wing back as well.
We seem to be targeting a lot of versatile players to cover positions that we might not have cover for, just player for player wise. If you're looking to keep the balance of the team, you're looking to not shake any, rock any apple carts or whatnot. You're trying to keep some sort of balance. You want to look for players that can do multiple jobs. So I think this versatility thing could become a strength for him. But if you look at the experience that he's accumulated at Wales, I think that's huge, because the fact that he can go into that starting 11, you remember Wales have a very good team. They have Joe Allen, they have Ramsey, they have Bale, they have Harry Wilson, James coming through. They have a lot.
Very good. There's no pushing it. Decent, rather effective. I think they got a decent.
It's like Hudson-Odoi, isn't it? Hudson-Odoi of England when he weren't playing for Chelsea. Southgate called him up.
Yeah. They have a lot of reason not to be playing Ampadu, but they still do. And I just think if you put him just understudying to Jorginho, if you look at the mentality that he's brought this season and the leadership qualities he's brought, plus you instill that confidence with Jody and the backroom staff as well, I think you could see Ampadu rise into this team a lot faster, because it's a position that we don't have, like as you're saying with Berger tracking him, we don't have a holding midfielder in the squad. Kante doesn't play there. Jorginho is not a typical traditional English, pundit loving holding midfielder. We don't actually have anybody who plays the CDM role. And there's definitely a gap for him. Whereas the likes of Gallagher are challenging, Loftus-Cheek, Mount, there's every other youngster really coming in has got serious challenges for what they do. Ampadu doesn't. He seems to have a niche role that he can bring that's literally in need right now. I've looked at so many times we've been leading the game, Sheffield United in particular, and I'm thinking, how good would it have to be bringing on Ampadu instead of Gilmore right now and holding the lead, just playing two defensive midfielders in front of the back four and just shutting the game down. So I definitely think there's a gap for him. Whether he gets it or we buy is obviously another question.
He was the only midfielder on the bench as well. I was about to say, Matisse, it wasn't necessarily good because he wanted to give Billy Gilmore his debut, but I think actually there was no other midfielders on the bench, and he probably
there's no one.
Yeah, and I was actually going to say Lampard's a naive manager, but not in a critiquing way, but Lampard is a growing manager. He'd be the first to admit that. So, but no, no doubt he would have put a DM on if he had one, trying to see out that lead.
Exactly. But you guys, I think for the next 15 minutes before we wrap things up, why not do something a bit experimental, something a bit fun? I've always kind of thought of like a Tales from the Timeline type of thing.
I've probably got a bowl in 5 Nini just to hit you up.
5? Hey, fair enough. That's cool, man. I was thinking, I'm hearing there's more news surrounding Mourinho, of course. Actually holding talks as we're speaking right now. So maybe for the next 5 minutes before we wrap things up, I'm going to link on the Twitter page. So you guys obviously connect to your Twitters as well. Let's look at the stream. You'll see it on the screen, to be honest. Let's see what the timeline's saying, you guys. It's going to look quite interesting, obviously.
Let's see what's going on.
Representatives of Tottenham and Jose Mourinho are in this evening locked with negotiations. Oh my God, it's going to be announced before the weekend. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be announced soon. Younes has got his tweeting game on already. It's happening, everyone. Prepare to wake up tomorrow morning to see Jose Mourinho as the new Spurs manager. I can't believe I've just said those words. Spurs, holy crap. Loads of love lost for this, hands down. Our greatest ever manager. If you've joined the stream late, if you've joined the stream late, everyone, I urge you to go back to the beginnings again, context of our opinions on this appointment.
This is the thing. When representatives of Tottenham and Mourinho are this evening locked in negotiations. So fair enough.
I heard that it could be going to do it. Thursday, I heard.
Yeah.
Someone's
What the fuck's that? Oh my god.
What's like the funniest tweets you can find? Danny Does. Hey, I like Danny Does on Twitter. You know, we share a lot of the same opinions. He had the best 11 in the league for some of those seasons. Did he elevate them beyond everyone's expectations? Absolutely, but to leave with nothing to show for it is a bit embarrassing. I'm sure he'll win stuff eventually, but his time at Spurs is ultimately a failure. That's in regards to Pochettino. And you know what? I think Mourinho's going to have even more failure at Tottenham. I just can't see it working out.
Did you see DT's tweet, Mr.
What's DT saying? Oh my!
Spurs sacking their most successful manager since Bill Nicholson.
Let me guess: 0 wins, 0 trophies. Yeah.
They don't fucking spoil the
But you can tell what he's going to be saying. It's DT.
I saw that. Yeah.
It's surprising, really, when you think how many trophies he's won for them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, like, do you know what I mean? We're getting silly now, but he's if he goes to United, it's a problem for Chelsea, and if Ten Hag goes to Spurs, it's a problem for Chelsea.
I can't imagine Ten Hag going to Spurs.
I think he's going to buy it.
First of all, is Levy going to spend that type of money to pay your manager's buyout clauses? Of course not.
Yeah, but how much is the Ajax buyout clause? It can't be that much.
Yeah, but listen, Levy doesn't have to spend money for anything, so
not very cheap.
You're going to buy Munich.
And there's a lot of. I think is Carlo Ancelotti. I heard someone was linking him to Tottenham as well.
Yeah,
is he a free agent?
Mate, Naples. We could have spent 20 minutes talking about Naples. That is an absolute shit show at the moment. But Ancelotti probably out. But Ten Hag, because of his connections to Bayern, he'll go to Bayern, and he would love that as well, and they'll love that. But I mean, before I go, Nini, I don't know if it's your stream, bro, and it's not necessarily Chelsea. But can we talk about quickly who you think will go to Spurs? Because I always said it would be Howe or Southgate, but I don't think it would be Southgate. And God knows. What do you think, mate?
I don't think Southgate's with England right now. That's like his baby, so he's not going to be leaving them for anything. Guys like Ten Hag, who's in the Champions League, better players going to. I mean, I'm not too sure about that either. Nagelsmann, he's starting to do quite well with Leipzig. Some nice young players are doing well in Europe. I think Mourinho, it's either that or Wenger. It's either Mourinho or Wenger for me personally.
I mean, well, to be honest, it's gonna be Jose. But I just I don't know. Yeah. What Spurs fans gonna fit? I just can't get my head around that. Spurs fans gonna.
Let's find expressions. What's expressions saying?
Mate,
it's gonna be.
I wonder how he's feeling about things.
He was doing nice tweets about
What's he saying? Videos out tonight. On route home. I'm so done out here. Real talk. I also got with Pochettino as well. Man, like expressions. That's sick. But you know what, you guys? I just realized something. Might have to end the stream right now. The risk of obviously live streaming from Twitter is that any nonsense can come on your feeds. And on YouTube, where they're so pro to just boom. You cancel you just like that. It's a bit too risky thinking about it, because the amount of nudity, the amount of things you don't want to see on Twitter that you do see on Twitter, maybe it doesn't make too much sense having it on YouTube. But anyway, you guys, I think we've been talking for long enough. My girl wants to go to bed right now. I'm sorry, baby. We're going to end in the next minute. Don't worry. But yeah, you guys, obviously, of course, thank you for coming on. It's been great. But before you go, of course, you guys, little quick plug, the only plug for tonight. Of course, I know you've been preying the shirt I'm wearing. It's a nice one. Let's be serious. This cost me a lot of money. I got this from the Club Mega store. I don't even know what this material is. It's not leather, but it's nice, And I was thinking, you guys, Christmas is coming soon. It's round the corner. It's not too far away. If you really love, the people you want to buy gifts for, consider buying them Chelsea merchandise, because, there's nothing better than that, to be honest. If you guys want to obviously get some stuff, you'll find links in the description below. You see my discount code on screen. Help yourselves, you guys. And with that note, you guys, Mattis, thank you for coming on. As I'm saying, you guys, his Twitter is on the screen right now. Make sure you give him a follow. And honestly, one of the best accounts on Twitter if you want to get a good perspective, good insight, good everything. Please, do yourselves a favor.
Thank you.
Follow him.
Thank you, man.
Plug what you want to plug, bro.
Guys, like Nini said, you can catch me on Twitter. Everything, that's the hub of everything that I'm doing right now. Videos are on there. Any guesting that I do, any podcasts I jump on, streams like this, it will all be on there, so you won't miss anything. And yeah, we just grinding, man. We working hard.
Hey, that's what we're doing, man. And Jan, thank you for coming on last minute as well, bro.
No worries, man. Yeah, same deal, man. Hustling football therapy. Come check it out. YouTube, Chelsea orientated channel essentially for the moment, and at Chelsea Yannick on Twitter, man.
Perfect, you guys. And again, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. And a lot of people, nearly close to 1,000 people on stream. Hey, I need to do these more regularly, basically. That's what you guys are basically telling me. So on that note, you guys, I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lines TV.
Oh yeah.
This was Nini After Dark. You know, I'm going to start branding it as Nini After Dark. Thank you, Jan. That was Jan's idea entirely. I'm taking that, Jan. I'm saying it on screen. I'm taking it, bro. It's fine now. Nini After Dark. This is going to be a regular thing every single week. So hope to see you guys here back again. And you guys, I'm done. I'm out. See you guys later.